manufacturing, we have had to subsidize electricity, and we've brought it down to 5 cents at off-peak hours. And we are working on a strategy with Ministry of Energy to ensure that it becomes an all-round thing, that all those who are in manufacturing, small or large, medium enterprises, will make electricity available to them at an affordable rate of 5 cents. And so that's what we're working towards, to make sure that we satisfy their demand. On line of infrastructure.
And does that apply to all those manufacturers, or it is to only those in the industrial parks, private or government?
We're encouraging them to come to the industrial parks because we've started piloting it in industrial parks. So it becomes very, very difficult. You're disadvantaged if you're starting to do at the backyard of your, maybe your let's say you're actually doing it in your garage at home. So it becomes very difficult for us to be able to take and connect you to the 5 cents. So it's better, you will be able to get that incentive if you're in the industrial park. And look here, friends, we have 25 industrial parks. So it's up to you to choose where you want to be located, and the land in those industrial parks are free of charge. And if you're an SME, we're starting to build SME warehouses, and starting with Namanve, so that we can get you out of your backyard and you come and you do it in those industrial parks. On the issue of infrastructure, and I stop there, and Morrison will answer the rest of the question. The infrastructure, especially transportation, how are we doing this? The first thing we've had to do is to connect Uganda to the nearest, to transform our disadvantage of being landlocked to being landlocked. So we are linking ourselves between, you see that's why there was a lot of debate and politicizing about
the roads to Congo.
We are not fools. We are very deliberate. By the time government took that decision to build the road between Uganda to Congo, it was very simple. It's even no-brainer. Imagine we are 46 million Ugandans. The Congolese market is 80 million people. So we have to connect ourselves to the market so that we take our products. Our economy is more developed by far than their economy. But what do we have to do? Take advantage of that market. We are the ones who are providing peace and stability in that market.
So we give them the roads as well.
And we give them, not them the road. We're giving ourselves the road to reach there. They're not going to come this way. If they come to our side, they're coming as tourists to come and see our sites, enjoy our peace. But if we go the other side, we're going as business traders. We're taking our manufactured products to their market. So that is just the reason why we're doing this. That's why we were able to link Uganda to Rwanda. That's why we're able to say, no, look here, we also have to make sure that the road from here to Malabo, linking us to Kenya, it has to be worked on very well. And people are asking, why are you doing this? The reason is very simple. We want to go to the market. We're doing it for the Ugandans who go there. Now, what you have to do is build your capacity, internal capacity. You can actually become a supplier of the materials that are being manufactured here and take advantage of that infrastructure. Water transport is another one that we're using to ensure that we actually be able to improve and ease the cost of transportation. Because it doesn't make any sense for you to produce cheaply and then transportation is high.
Yes.
So we want to also make sure that cost of transportation is low, and the easiest way of bringing that down is by water transport and rail transport. That's why you're hearing us working on the meter gauge railway.
But the railway is taking longer. I don't know, where are we stuck?
It is because we are depending on external financing. And we have competing priorities, and we started developing our meter gauge rail, and now we are progressing to developing our standard gauge rail. And there I can assure you, we'll be arriving to the promised land of converting ourselves from a landlocked country to a land-linked country. Over to you, Morrison.
Morris, energy. The ministers tackled it a little bit, and there is a question that came specifically for you about investment in transportation. Someone sent in a message, and is Molindwa, saying, thanks, Andrew, for the conversation. I want Maurice Wakamba to shed more light about the Bukassa Inland Port. How far are we, to importation and export logistics?
Well, as you know, the Ministry of Works has been involved in that, and we are following it. But we know that it has been prioritized, and work should be going on. But having said that, I think the minister really gave a helicopter, helicopter and landing view of the infrastructure and what we've been doing. Because I think the government of NRM made infrastructure a flagship. And otherwise, with all the contradictions and the contestations around priorities, in any country it was always difficult to invest the kind of money we've invested in electricity, and that we are continuing to do, and all for the making sure that we manage the cost centers that make business expensive. I'm very excited, especially I know Kampala we have problems. I think when I was minister, we shall have to address it. You have the entire bigger economy of the 3 districts of Kampala, Mukono, and Wakiso, where
5 million people.
and who are over 60% of the GDP is actually produced here. So to make more money, definitely we need to make sure that we have the best roads in the world when it comes to this Kampala and the metropole. It's a big issue, and I think it should be raised at the cabinet level. It's not good for the economy.
Morrison, I don't want to cut you, but what you're saying reminded me of the president of Gabon. So make some noise. Kampala, make some noise.
So I thought I wanted to add some bit of noise in that.
Oh yes, I will help you amplify it.
And that one will have to do it. But the other part of infrastructure where Uganda is doing very well is really an expansive national broadband infrastructure, to the extent that wherever you are anywhere in the country, you are really able to connect, because you see this infrastructure of telecom, ability to communicate, ability to have internet and interact with your markets, both output and input markets. Also be able to gather the knowledge, because that's also part of the knowledge infrastructure. Make telecommunications and data move. That's very important in terms of how we transition to high value products, but also how we make our labor, our work, people who work in all these factories and all the service sector, be able to work and be able to generate value. So the investment in the internet broadband infrastructure, I think, has been very, very critical, even helping as a country to attract investors, because they know anywhere you can communicate. You can you can have the data. The Honorable Minister has already talked about the marine infrastructure. We have, for instance, now like Modern Group is shipping out the tiles they are making Ginger Valley, Victoria to Tanzania, and all those markets, which I think
the tiles we are winning.
Yeah, and then
not even only tiles, even coffee,
even
cotton.
Yeah. I just wanted to give an example, and I think Ugandans must understand some of those strategic interventions that have happened, but also the trunk road infrastructure that links us, to the regional markets for both the outputs and inputs. For example, the president is going to be launching the Kike tropical fruits factory tomorrow in Nakasongora Luwero area, purely owned and operated by Ugandans. Okay. And they are working with around...
Underline the fact that this Ugandan actually started as a trader.
Yes.
And he was trading in salt. He was buying salt from Kenya, and he did that trade for a time, and then he moved. Please, let us tell Ugandans that it is possible.
Yes.
But
you may want to buy the Ucham, but I think we need to start moving with Andrew Cham.
I love that.
So that he brings these stories.
We will bring them to life, but the president...
You need to visit this Kike tropical fruit.
I'm going to visit them, but the same area in Luwero, the president opened a pineapple juice factory. This was 7 years ago. It is in tatters. It's in Kasanaru way.
Well, let me tell you.
And today we're opening another.
No.
No, that was not... Morrison, let me help you on this. Because I think he wants to put you in a corner which are not allowed.
These are facts.
The deal here is that was... I must agree with you that so many of the government's started projects failed. That is true. The Kasana Luwero was government giving it to the people. Now our people have a problem. They will never own it up for it to be able to commercialize it to the next level. Without commercializing, and you're keeping it in that academic way, it is not going to see its first birthday.
So because they don't own it.
They don't own it. Now, the project that Mauritian is talking about is 100% private sector led. We're only going to give him a hand. What we're giving is incentive, market, access to market, tax exemptions, and the like. And majority of the projects that government started, the majority of the projects that are surviving, businesses, manufacturing plants that you see are surviving, are purely private sector led. That's why I'm telling you, it's not to say the government is not a good business person. It is just that the people who are implementing those projects are not good.
Wow. Finally, we have
and really, Honorable Minister, that liberalization, because government essentially in all economies is supposed to be the wind beneath the wings, such that the private sector can fly and thrive. Okay, and I think we have to concentrate on that. And I'm happy that our policy, if you look at the policy frameworks, all of them promote that. But one interesting thing about this Chike tropical fruits is that they are processing every season 100 metric tons.
every season.
Every season for pineapples, for mangoes that they are getting from across Luwero, Nakasongora, northern Uganda, Bukedi region. They are getting all that fruit. They are making fruit pulp. They are making fruit concentrate. Selling here, they are selling to Coca-Cola is one of their off-takers, so the market is already here. But they are selling it to Kenya. But they are also exporting. So if you go there, I think it will
tomorrow it is.
You should tag with the Honorable Minister.
I will talk to the Tory and the Nation Media will actually be there to cover you. 3 minutes.
Test and we go.
Now that's one thing that whenever I'm here, I'm like, it's better off when
we must protect our president.
Absolutely. It's 3 minutes past 7. I see a couple of people already asking for the microphone to speak. Kindly, when you get the mic, keep it mute until when you're requested to. But we have inside here, we have investors who are equally very ready to ask questions and possibly share what it's like. Someone has already asked you a question and says that thank you so much, Honorable, for responding to the Bukasa Inland Port. And someone here says, very good conversation right there on space. People actually want to invest in Uganda, but they fear one thing: inflating taxes and utility bills. Sadists also play an important role in driving away investors. I can never forget Wukede in their fake article about my country and about us. This is a Ugandan listening in from abroad and is very touched about this conversation.
Thank you.
But nonetheless, how do we fix that, Honorable? The inflating of taxes and the utility bills, which later on the unfriendly forces use to expedite their agenda and propaganda.
The truth is, it's an issue of tax education. I did mention this in one of the spaces last time, and I have to repeat it. It is not true that you have to always pay cash. If you've not made profit, you are going to file a nil return, and that is allowed. What makes us to get a challenge, and therefore URA then give an inflated tax on you? It's an assumed tax because you have not been filing that you are actually not profitable. Did you know that you can actually file a nil return, and genuine nil return, that I did not make money, and prove it for up to 3 years, and they will not bother you for as long as you filed it by 15th of a new month. So that, like the tax returns for last month, by 15th of this new month, you have to make sure that you have filed it. Because if you haven't filed it, then they will come and slap these taxes on you. They will come and assume that you are actually under declaring taxes, because then they'll put for you a figure that they have to estimate looking at your behavior. And yet, this, you can avert it by just filing those returns.
Okay.
For the water bills, this is already addressed. Domestic water, you pay 4,500
Yes.
per cubic meter. For commercial water, and you really have to indicate right from the time you are getting your water pulled to your manufacturing plant,
Mm.
you have to make sure that you do not put it in the names of Morrison Rakakamba. If you put it that this water, even if it's a factory, but the meter you've pulled it and it is in the names of Morrison Rakakamba, they're going to charge you the domestic price.
Mm.
But if you put it in the names of, maybe you say Morrison Rakakamba Limited, and they check that this is a company, then you will be sure that you will not pay the domestic price. You'll pay the manufacturing price, which is 2,500. So we have to just give that difference. And that's why it becomes very clear. But I must commend this Ugandan who has had this. It also hurts us. Today I'm going to have to be hard on you a little bit.
Yes.
The media, starting with you, actually believes that some of these things are not true. That what we're talking about, they focus on the negative publicity. If you wake up in the morning and you run a headline that Ugandan milk has got poo-poo, do you know that you're affecting the farmer?
Correct.
1,000 plus farmers are all going to be affected because
one story, one headline.
One headline. People are going to say, no, we cannot take milk which has got poo. So you have to run good stories. Let me tell you, there is nobody who doesn't have bad stories in their homes. Every person, every country has got bad stories. But you know what they do? They get this image. The Americans call themselves superpower. I have been there. I've studied there.
And you've seen the
There's nothing
superpower?
super about that superpower. But they have continuously repeated that.
Yes.
That we all have to call them superpower. The
Yes.
Great Britain, have you seen their roads? They are as tiny as this.
Great Britain.
They are great. And they will tell the whole world we are great. Britain, it's branding.